one. Hello, welcome. Today with me is Tammera Hamner. She is a transformational life coach who believes our minds define our abilities, and that we can condition our thoughts to help us excel beyond the story that was written by our past, using our damage and experience as stepping stones towards our future. I'm super excited to share your story with you guys. Thank you so much, Tammera.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Excellent. I'm really glad. I know that our internet is just going wonky today, so we're going to bear with it, and it's going to be a great interview. So everybody has a backstory. What was life like before you got into coaching, and what was your transition into coaching?
Well, it's kind of funny because I've been in the coaching industry for about 16 years because I've worked with a nonprofit organization. I actually volunteered first and then worked full time, but I can even go back before that. And before that, it was chaotic. I mean, there was just, it was unbearable. Like I had no direction. I had no purpose. I had no values. I didn't want to be married. I didn't like my husband. I didn't like being a mother. I had no direction in life, just none in general. So I was sexually abused as a child. And then I also endured a lot of physical and emotional abuse as well. Mostly the emotional abuse and sexual abuse, but the physical abuse was, just kind of interim. But that kind of all led to a chaotic adulthood, and I could never get in touch with emotions. I didn't have emotions. I couldn't feel loved. All I could feel was just sad and depression, anxiety, those typical feelings. And so my parents went through this program called boot camp that they went through. They started to go to church, and I'm thinking, oh great, old people trying to get into heaven, here we go. We was not raised in church, so I kind of had my doubts and my reservations about what they were doing. But actually on a Saturday morning during that program, my dad called me and he apologized for everything he had done to me throughout my whole life. And like I said, he was the one that did the sexual abuse. My mom was aware of it, but we started talking more. And I mean, I was blown away. I thought, this is a man that doesn't generally apologize. This is a man that, he doesn't normally take fault, or, I was shocked. And I thought, now, if this can do this for him, I want to do this program. So I told my husband that morning, I said, look, I want to do this. I want to do this for me. And I know you don't have a lot of issues. I know you were raised in a great family, and, but I need you to go to support me, to hold me accountable, because that's what I need. So he agreed to do so, and we went through. Now, when we went through, we were not active in church either, him and I. He was raised in church. I was not. But he was like, he came from a very strict religious background. And so that kind of drove him away from the church a little bit, really. I mean, the times that people would come by from church, he'd shut the lights off and close the shades. Nobody's home, He wouldn't answer it. He didn't want any part of it. And we went through the program, and of course, Thursday night into the program was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all day Saturday. And so when we went through the program Thursday night, they got into victim stories, and that was where I had to get into the sexual abuse and things. And I wanted to run. I mean, I was just totally, I don't want to be here. And my husband says, oh, no. You drag me here, you're staying. You're not going anywhere. So we stayed, we stuck it out. And it really made such an amazing transformation in our lives together. We immediately stepped up and said, we want to help do this. We want to give back. So we started volunteering with this program afterward. We started going to church. We became involved in church. Our marriage was a lot better. I mean, we were doing great, and we stayed there. And finally, after about 6 years into the program that we volunteered, every single event, my husband, 2 hip replacements, he was still there right after, even during his recovery, we were always dedicated to the program, and because we've seen the transformation that it did for people. And so I was a life coach there. So I started life coaching. That was where I started my life coaching experience. And then after time, my oldest daughter at that point had gotten pregnant, which she was at a very young age of 14. And so, yeah, she had her first son. So she made us G parents, is what we say, because we were too old to be grandparents.
Uh,
So we're still G parents. But, I kind of took a little bit of step back from volunteering and kind of helped with him until they lost their main administrative person. And then I stepped up and went full time with them. And that was about 6 or 7 years ago as well. So over this whole time of 16 years, but the last 6 years I volunteered. I worked for that program. That program then the directorship kind of split off. We all split off into, a bunch of the directors and me went one way, and then the owner of that program and his wife stayed with that program. So we created a second program that was a lot like the first one, but it went more in depth and in detail. And I helped create that program. So I did a lot of the back end stuff on that. I helped create a lot of the games and drills, the things that we do, and again, started getting a lot heavier in the life coaching part. And then I decided after about 8 or 9 months of being with that program, I thought something was incomplete. Something was not enough. I felt like I was controlled still. I felt, it's 3 gentlemen that runs the program. So I kind of felt like I was up against bumping heads with them, and trying to get input. I'm one female with 3 men trying to get input. And so, but I wasn't feeling complete. So I, stepped back and I, did a lot of prayer and, had decided that it's time to step out on my own. It's time to do this on my own. But what I didn't really realize is that time on my own was a time that it was going to be a huge amount of growth for me. I went through that's been over a year that I've done this. But that year started out, I would stop having anything to do with my parents. I don't really talk to my parents. I'll tell my mom Happy Mother's Day, or I'll tell my father Happy Father's Day, and I keep them on my Facebook and with the business stuff so that they can still keep in contact. I'll still do that, but I don't have any contact. I don't have much contact with them. It brings me down more, and it kind of sent me on a tailspin. Over the last year, I was inpatient. Actually in the end of February of this year, I went inpatient to Healing Springs Ranch because I was having suicidal tendencies and suicidal idealizations. Not that I'd actually act through, but it was more of a hopeless, I don't care whether I'm here, I don't care whether I live or die. And it was, again, like I just almost lost my purpose. I wasn't involved in the programs. I wasn't doing any kind of life coaching. I was trying to build my business, but was spinning my wheels at it. So I ended up, like I said, at, my husband came in and he said, "Do we need to do something?" And I said, "Yep, we do." So I ended up going inpatient to Healing Springs Ranch, and I spent 3 weeks there, which was, again, a huge, amazing transformation. And I never dreamed that I had so much that I have to keep going through, and so I kind of learned, and I've kind of come to the reservation that regardless of whether you're a life coach, you're a counselor, you're a therapist, or any kind of mental health professional, you're not immune to this stuff. You're not immune to it. It's a constant battle. It's a constant work at it, and it's constant, but what I've found alleviates a lot of it is the giving back. When I give back to others, if I'm giving back to others, then my life is really working out a lot better. I see more clients. I have more people that, that interact with me, and, I get more opportunities to be on other people's stages, like what, with yours, and visit with you. So again, it's all about giving back. To me, it's not about the dollar. It's not. That's not what I look at as far as, my success at the end of the day. Okay. So that's really kind of about how it ended up. I started out, like I said, I just kind of started out really hopeless, had no direction. And up until I kind of kept, as I call it shoveling the crap out of my life. As I was shoveling it out and getting rid of it, I lost the weight. I lost lots of physical weight. I've lost over 150 pounds,
Wow.
over this extent, over this journey. And that's been over 5 years that I've done that. So it's amazing what happens, when you stop letting other people control you.
Yeah.
It was amazing how that transformation happened.
Wow. Well, I'm really glad that you're able to, keep constantly battling. That's really great. Congratulations on the 150 pounds.
Thank you.
That's the hard thing, but that really shows, right?
That was a hard part. I mean, I had a gastric bypass, but even after the gastric bypass, I lost just a little. But
Uh-huh.
it wasn't until I stepped up and started really addressing the emotional part of it that I really started dropping the weight, and I can keep it off. It
Yeah.
doesn't come back. I mean, I can control my eating. I can control what I do.
Hmm.
So I have better control over that.
Yeah. So why do people generally come to work with you? What are they either struggling with, or why do they choose you?
They usually choose me because, again, they're at a loss with life. They just have no purpose. They're trying to find purpose. They're trying to find value. They're trying to find a sense of direction. And that's why they come to me, is because I can help them break that down. And we look at that, and we don't look at it based on what they see they want right now. Because, again, you got to look outside that. You have to look at a broader view and look a little bit deeper.
Mhm.
I mean, it is when somebody says, I want a really big house to live in. Well, that may be the case, but when the kids are grown and you look and you see you have this really big house, are you still going to be happy in that big house? So it's a matter of breaking down those goals and looking at those goals individually, and that way we can kind of set the path to those goals and hit those goals accordingly. So that way we kind of, like I said, we break that down and do it step by step.
Mm, interesting. So like who do you generally work with? Is it anybody who has those issues, or is it men, women? Is it certain ages, or?
It's both men and women. It usually seems to be I would say in about the 30 to 45 age range is what most of my clients are.
Mm, okay.
That's what they kind of seem to be. I mean, give or take.
Mm,
So in the 30s and 40s. But it's both men and women. I see a lot of women, but it's both. I
okay.
have both.
Nice. So, like, what is your vision for your life?
To leave a legacy, to have purpose. That's really my vision. I just, maintaining that drive to wake up every single morning,
Mhm.
because that's what keeps me going, and remembering to be grateful, making sure I'm accomplishing the things that I am grateful for, and that I'm using my gifts and talents accordingly.
Mm,
That's the vision that I have for me, to build a legacy.
nice. What does success mean to you?
Success is based upon how many people I can help in a day, really. How many different lives can I touch in a day? How many different, you know, you making you smile.
Yeah.
That's a purpose I have. I drive a pink and gray Toyota Tacoma, but my purpose is to make people smile.
Mm,
And I don't even have to come face to face with them.
mhm.
Like when I'm driving my truck around town, it's cool to see the smiles, especially of the kids. I mean, it's
Yeah.
wonderful to see the kids' smiles, and like, get them to just take a second look, and, it gets them off what they're doing at that moment. If they're fussing or whatever, and then they turn around and see a pink truck. Oh, wait, it
Oh,
gives mom a little bit of a moment of a break there, a
wow.
little breather, but it's just to make people smile. And, so however many lives I can touch in a day is what I base my success on. That's what I call as a productive day, is to making a difference in people's lives.
Mhm. So are you working on any special projects right now, like a group program, a conference, books, anything like that, or?
I actually am going to start working on a podcast. My husband and I are going to do a podcast together. He said, she said is what we're looking at doing. So we are working on getting that together and writing out the plan for that so that I can have that planned out and get that started. So, and I just got my website live as of yesterday. So messinlife.com is up. So that is there. But yeah, so I'm just like going through and knocking them out, and but yeah, the podcast is my next project.
Cool, cool. Yeah, how can people learn more about you? I think you said your website, but I didn't quite hear it.
Yeah, messinlife.com is the website, and then I'm also on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well, and all of that information is on the website.
Okay, excellent. So I really appreciate you doing the interview. Thanks so much for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Excellent. And for those watching, if you would like more content like this for people who are, improving their lives and working with others to do the same, I recommend you go and join our community. There's going to be a link either above or below the video for you to go plug in with people who are trying to change their lives, because something really great happens when you get around people who are like-minded. You start to move faster. You start to be able to affect change in your own life and help people do the same. So if that is you, go ahead and click on the link either above or below the video. Join us inside the community. I cannot wait to get to meet you. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed watching as much as we enjoyed creating it. Talk to you guys soon, and we're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1.